Hi Legionnaires, Steve Cox here with you from High Tech Legion. Case reviews are always great because you get to see kind of the future of computers. You get to see where computers are going in the new hardware, the next generation of hardware which will be put in these cases, and you get to see some of the evolutionary branches of case design. More often than not, it always comes back to simple, compact, cubes and rectangles of cases. And while in a purely form follows function way, that works, but there are so many better ways and so many things that can be tested. Speaking of testing, the Cooler Master HAF Stacker 935 is a case which is kind of breaking boundaries. This is the first modular stackable case. This particular one comes with a mid-tower and a micro tower. It's basically the 935 and the 915R. The 915R represents the power supply in the rear. There's also a 915F, which is the power supply located at the front of the case. The box here is pretty simple. It's a fairly large box. You can see I'm a 6-foot tall guy. This is on like a 3.5-foot table. I don't know, it's 30, help. Allow me. That is 33.5 inches tall. Of course, that's accounting for packing and everything else. So we'll get it out and see how tall the case is here in a moment. The box is a pretty basic box. It just says Cooler Master HAF Stacker 935 on all sides, front, back, and both sides. It does have a sticker down here showing the serial number, model number, part number, and things of that nature. I don't believe that is in frame. You can't see that. My room is simply not big enough to get back far enough to see the whole thing. I can lift it up. But that's it. Cardboard box. Let's get it out of here, see what all it comes with, and take a look at the components and the build quality and everything else that goes with it. Take a look at the items which come inside the cardboard box, which in turn comes inside the case tied on the inside there. Of course, you'll have a bag with all of your basic components. Comes with zip strips to tie down wires. It comes with a few locks for the back side panels of the case. You'll be able to tie that down, and then it comes with your standard bag of all the different screws and the lift-off pieces, and then screws for the power supply. These are the locking mechanisms. They attach on the side with a screw on the inside, and then from the back side of the case you can lock down the side panels to the case, which I really like. It also comes with an additional plate in case you, because the 915, this 915R, which has the power supply in the rear, hence the R, you can just cover that space if you're only using one power supply in the main chassis. It does have the ability, with all the multiple holes and grommet areas inside there, you do have the ability to put your power supply in the 915R and put full-size ATX motherboards and graphics cards and everything in the main chassis, and that can help alleviate some additional temperatures inside the main case. It also has a blank plate for the rear I/O shield. So those are what come. Some little grommets, just a little bit of everything. I say grommet, it's not really a grommet, I'm sorry, it's a rubber washer. And I don't have a booklet. It did not come with a booklet. There is a lot of information online at the Cooler Master site, and you'll be able to find that. Of course, you can follow my review here and you'll learn most of what you need to know. It additionally has an extension wire for the SATA power, which allows you to plug in SATA power from your power supply and run it up to the, and you can't see in this shot because I'm tight on the table, but you'll be able to see later. I'll show that it runs the power supply up to the additional hard drive cages inside the 915R. I've removed both side panels off the 915R just to show some easy access here. You see it comes with one HDD drive, and it also has a drive for the for an optical drive, or a slot for the optical drive. The front piece just pops right off easily. It unscrews. These are the side panels. Of course, the 915 has the mesh with the filter. Same as the front and some of the bottom here where the power supply will go. This is that SATA power extension. You'll see you'll be able to run it from a power supply down here up to hard drive cages up here. Of course, you won't leave it in the front. You would run it through the back and route it through the cable routing holes built into the case. The options available with a case like this are really almost only limited by your imagination. If you want to put a power supply in the 915 and have it power the whole chassis, the whole case, then that works. You can build two individual systems, and maybe you and a significant other can share one case for both of your systems and set multiple monitors around and have you a really nice gaming room, or used for Bitcoin mining, or as a server. So many different options. Of course, you can also get the other 915 and have it on the bottom so that you'll have an even larger case with even more expandable options. The case itself has some really neat features as far as simple things. With all the innovations that they're making, one that I've liked the most is the hard drive toolless quick slots. You have a little tab on the bottom here. When lifted, it just slides out. You see it slides just a few millimeters. That's enough to slip a hard drive in there and then just snap back into place, which locks your pins into position, and you don't have to fight with twisting and forcing. Every other case I've ever seen, you either have screws or you have to twist it and force it in there. And we all know when dealing with hard drives, especially the traditional platter drives with magnetic fingers that read it, you don't want to jostle that. You don't want to shake it and twist and force on it. I mean, so an innovation like that is really great, I think. Of course, each of these do come out. You have to unscrew them on the side, and they slide right out once you unscrew them. And the locking mechanisms for the optical drives, you'll see how simple this is to use. You just slide it forward and it pulls it out, and then you'll be able to slide in your optical drive, snap it back down, and you're locked in. Of course, these are, if you prefer, these are removable. They literally snap right out, and you can use a traditional screw. But I can't imagine why anyone would want to do it the hard way rather than the better way. So those are just a few of the options. I mean, all the cable routing inside these, and look how easy this comes loose. Of course, once you have it mounted permanently, you screw them down. You'll see the screw hole here, and it screws into this lower piece, which locks the two cases together. Now, let's take a look at these cases individually. If a person wanted to use them separately, they would have to go and order another top piece. Well, they may not have to. If they didn't, though, one or the other would be blank. But the top piece is modular like the rest of the case. You remove a few screws, 4 screws from each corner, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you do that, the top slides right off, and you can put it onto the other piece, making that a full mid-tower case in itself. That being the case, it does have the rubber grommets across the top. You could mount a radiator on top, on the inside. So many options with this thing. Every time I think I have it all figured out, I start playing with it and find something new again. So I'm sure I won't find, who knows, everything. So I've got all the sides. This is the 915 again, and it will normally go up top. You could set it up so that it goes on bottom. Let me pull this off. These rails, the feet on the bottom of this case, you can see it has the grommets and the filtration here on the bottom, the screen filter. These rails come right off pretty easily. Alright guys, after going through a couple of configurations with the 915R on top, on bottom, different things set up different ways, I've decided to build with the 915R on bottom. I'm going to put the power supply in the bottom and the optical drive and the HDD, the standard hard drive, with some of the solid state drives up top here, motherboard, RAM, graphics card, of course, all those things. So I'm using the IO shield plate that was provided by Cooler Master, and I will be using the plate that replaces the power supply. I will be using that in the top portion. This piece, like I say, the plate covers the power supply slot. So, without further ado, I'm going to cut away and begin my install so that I can get everything in here, take some temperatures, and see how well it works with some of the hotter components in a separate case with a separate fan system, and kept away from things like the graphics card and the processor. Of course, my processor will be on a AIO water cooling system, the Cooler Master Sidon 120. But my graphics card is standard air cooled. So I'm going to get all that in here, and we'll come back and check the temperatures and do all of our benchmarkings. Okay guys, quick update. I tried to put my power supply down here in the 915R. I thought it would be really nice to have my hard drives and my power supply down here and try to contain most of the wiring and cabling in the bottom case here. Problem is the CPU cable does not reach. There's no routing that I can do to make it reach the 8-pin at the top there. If I had some kind of extensions like these, I had these previously just for decoration, so I have a solid black instead of a color. If I had that for the 8-pin, it would be perfect. I simply do not have that. So I'm going to have to move the power supply back up into the top case. I've tried my best to utilize this, but with a standard build and standard hardware, it's just no point. If you were building two computers, one a micro ITX and one a regular sized or ATX or eATX or anything else, it would be great. If you have a lot of radiators and stuff, I mean, it's got some great spacing for radiator to mount on the bottom here. On the sides, once the sides are in, you put some nice large radiators in, and if you had another one on the top, of course, all that's great. But for a standard build, I just can't make a use of it at all. I can't put anything in that bottom case of any value. So I'm pretty much only utilizing this top piece, and that kind of makes me sad because I actually think it's a really beautiful case. The window on the side is really nice, and when it's all put together, it's really an attractive case. And I can see where, for a lot of people, a lot of enthusiasts, and a lot of people with really nice custom water cooling loops, a lot of big radiators, and a lot of tubing, that's going to make a huge difference having that extra case there. And of course, like I've stated earlier in the video, for multiple PC builds in one case to take up less space, something like that is perfect. But for a standard build, I just can't make any use of it. This is the final iteration. The way I ended up having to put this together was just like a standard case, really. I went ahead and tucked in quite a few of the wires and cabling down into the bottom case, but without more hardware on my end. I just can't really utilize the 915R aspect of the case. I had to use quite a few of my own fans. One thing Cooler Master has decided with this case is that, you know, of course, most of us prefer to build our own themes when modding or when building a case. We build our own themes in. We use, you know, our own favorite color LED fans or our own personal kinds of fans, and it's just not needed to add in fans. So they have one basic fan for the back. I've replaced that with a push-pull system with their Cooler Master Side-On 120 XL, and then I've added in 2 fans up front, 2 fans in the top, and then of course that radiator there. So I should have plenty of airflow and lots of cooling. That of course lends to the HAF aspect of the case, the high airflow. And it was really a pretty simple build. I had some trouble just going through trying to do things that I just didn't have the hardware to do. I tried originally to put the power supply down below, then the 8-pin did not reach. I tried to have all the hard drives down below, and the SATA cables wouldn't reach, and I just couldn't justify just going and buying any new ones to build the case. Otherwise, really beautiful case. Really looks good once you get all the side paneling on. I'll show you how it looks with the window on, and then we'll get it hooked up and get our benchmarks running. Show how well it cools and takes some temperatures, and pretty much just show you how nice it looks. Even I don't really have a lot of lighting. Of course, my RAM lights up a little bit, and the motherboard has a little bit of LED backlighting on it. But there's no lighting, but you'll see with the window, you can see all of the case and all of its glory, even though it is fairly tinted. That smoke window is you know, not exactly clear. So even in the video, I'm not sure how much you can see, but here in person you can see all of it, and it's really beautiful. So it's definitely got that going for it. That's just some of the basics. I mean, the build was easy. The modular aspect of the case is really nice. You know, the top and the feet all interchangeable between the 915 and the 935. Being able to put the 915 on top or bottom, depending on your personal taste or your personal needs. I thought it looked better on bottom. I like the window and everything up top. Okay, I know it's a little bit dark, the whole inside of the case. Outside of the case, it's all black on black. Makes it very easy to hide black cables and black wires and tuck them away out of sight. And then again, with that smoke window on this side panel, it looks really sharp. But I wanted to get a tight view inside. This is a downward angle of the bottom of the 935 and the top of the 915. You can see the grommet holes here, which allow for cable passage from one case to the other, so that they can share again a power supply in the bottom, a whole system in the bottom tied together somehow, or if you have all of your hardware in this top case and then use the lower case for water cooling, your hoses and everything run through there. There is a screen on the bottom underneath the power supply. It's easily accessible from the back. I pull that out. That is a dust cover for the power supply. Slides right back in there. Just wanted to get a tight view on that, and you can see in the bottom of the 915 it also has similar access ports, little holes, and then this grommeted hole here, which allows for, again, if you put this on top, and this is all modular. This strip here is where the grooves, tongue and grooves are, and then the bottom of the case, I'm going to move you back a little. The bottom of the case where you can see these feet, that unscrews here, and the feet can be put on the bottom of the 935, and then the top portion of the 935 similarly comes unattached and can be attached to the top of the 915. All completely modular. Where you place things is up to you. Your imagination is the only thing limiting you on this, realistically, and then maybe your pocketbook. I know if it were up to me, I'd have this thing just full of stuff I cannot afford. I want to get a little tighter view of these optical drive mounts, or the fan controller mounts for your front bays of the HAF Stacker 935 case. You see how easy these are. They're labeled lock open, and it's just that easy. The flip of a switch and it unlocks. You slide in whatever hardware it is you're putting in there and then snap it back down. No taking anything out, no screws, no nothing. The hard drive trays are similarly easy. It slides right in. You'll see on the inside you have 2 screws here. There are another 4 under the front panel, which snaps off quite easily. And then each individual tray slides out very easily. You just pinch the 2 and release the little locks on the side. On the back it has a little clip that you can press and then pull that apart. It gives you a little bit of space. You drop in a hard drive and snap it right back together, and that locks the pins in position. Some of the easiest and simplest I've seen. I know a lot of people are going toolless, and the less I have to get in there and drop screws all over the place, the better. And so I really like that a lot. This is the left panel of the HAF Stacker 935. You can see it does have a nice large window for a lot of visibility in there. Looks really good with some lights in there, and you can see all of your equipment. Good cable management, makes it really pretty. Get it open. You can see what I've done in here. Pretty standard build. Nothing too fancy. Plenty of room for even a mITX, the extra large motherboard, can come all the way out to here, still leaving lots of room. Lots of room for very large graphics cards, even with the hard drive bay in place. I actually moved up and only used that one. There is another that comes here, and that just slides right in. Has some nice rails. It actually fits in pretty firmly, even without these screws. And it has these latches to make it stay in place so it doesn't just slide around on you. Of course, it does have screw mounts on the side here, 2 screws here, and then another 4 from the front. When you take the front panel off, 4 screws hold that in place very firmly. Of course, again, you don't necessarily need that to use it. So I'm going to pull it back out though. I pulled it out to give me a little extra airflow. Again, I have 2 fans in the front. So my final thoughts for the Cooler Master HAF Stacker 935 is that it's a really great case. It really looks good. The window on the side is beautiful. The design, I really like just clean lines. I'm a pretty simple kind of guy when it comes to that. I don't want all the flash and flare and crazy stuff that a lot of people like. I certainly see the appeal in that, but for me, I'm all about form follows function. And give me something that works and I'm super happy. The high airflow aspect of this case with the mesh all down the front on both sides of the 915R, very functional, allows for a lot of airflow, keeps temperatures down, as is evidenced by the benchmarking in the written portion of the review. My only detraction is that it is a niche case. It's going to have a fairly small customer base, I'm afraid, and I only hope that Cooler Master doesn't see that as a negative sign, and that they continue to put out cases like this for people who want custom modifications and want to build custom computers to fit, you know, every aspect of their life. Being able to build two systems in one case, saving space, one footprint, stacking them up, it's a really great idea. Being able to use one system for everyday use and another as a server or for Bitcoin mining, or using the 915 part as a server full of hard drive trays. You know, so many options. The options really are endless. You should check it out not only on our website but over on the Cooler Master website. Look at their parallax scrolling website to see some of their ideas and some of the water cooling. Being able to use that 915R with two 360 millimeter radiators, that's huge. That's a lot of water cooling, and that's what I intend to do. Maybe not 360s, but you know, some nice big radiators and a nice big reservoir in there. So I'm giving it a gold award because it is kind of a niche thing. It's not for everyone, but as I stated in the written portion of the review, you wouldn't buy a fancy expensive sports car as an everyday, you know, daily driver. So again, you wouldn't buy this case just to build a standard gaming computer. This is for people who require extra space and require extra water cooling, or even just extra air cooling. Fit plenty of fans in there, lots of intake, lots of mesh with filters, you know. So that's going to be really great for people who are building a NAS system or a secondary system. You know, I keep going through them. Once again, that's a gold award for the Cooler Master HAF Stacker 935. This is Steve Cox signing off. I want to remind you to follow us on Twitter and get daily updates. Come like us on our Facebook page and you can follow us there. Better yet, join us on our forum and our website and be able to follow all these reviews every day. That's at www.hightechlegion.com.